Welcome to the Bliss Out Queen Podcast for the spiritually curious who are committed to revolutionizing their life and the world. Through this podcast, you will learn how to evolve your life and intentionally create from a grounded and soul-aligned place. I call this the Bliss Timeline, a reality where you are living in a flow state, abundant and balanced with your heart, soul, and natural rhythms. What I share will come from my own discoveries while exploring this timeline and learning how to develop it. If this sparks excitement in you, I encourage you to follow the podcast, share with a friend, and go on your own exploration of your bliss timeline. Hi everyone, welcome to this episode. I'm going to be sharing about a couple things, and they're present in my life together. So that's why they're two different topics, but they work together with how I'm sharing it. So one is moving with seasons, and then the other one is stepping into habits. I blanked for a second. There's so many things I was thinking about sharing today, and I was like, which one? So one is, seasons, aligning with seasons, and then the other one is building habits, and how both have really helped me more recently to experience more peace and happiness and overall well-being. So, and also I want to remind you that I'm sharing all this as I'm learning and experiencing it. And maybe I'll learn more in the future, but right now I feel like I'm at a good place where I have a couple things I'd love to share with you all and encourage you all to think about. So this seasons thing is, I can go into a tangent with that, so that's why I felt like saying it separately. But I'm going to start with that because that has been a few years like in the making, of slowly but surely, step by step, when it felt right, learning more about ways that I was operating that was not, okay, so there's a fruit fly that just keeps coming right into my mouth, and at some point I might inhale this fruit fly. So, ways I was operating in the past that was not like flowing with my natural rhythms, being a human and a woman with a womb and having a menstrual cycle, and then the seasons just of like the earth. So our human body is part of this natural existence of earth, and I feel that in the past I was operating so much out of trying to work with, the expectations of society. And something to keep in mind is everyone's society has different expectations. So depending on where you're coming from, where you grew up, or where you're currently living, there's like different environmental almost like subtle peer pressure, just because, if the majority of people are living life a certain way, it just almost is like subconscious or like very subtle peer pressure to do that too. Like if you don't normally watch TV at night, but then you start hanging out with a friend, or you start a new relationship and they watch TV at night, it's very easy to just like do it too, even if it's not necessarily something you would normally do or that you even want to do. So that's just an example of like how our environment can impact our choices and how we operate, how we, what we do. So I feel for me that the way my path of like remembering to work with my body and my body's natural cycles and rhythms really slowly evolved with having more and more connection with my womb. And that really changed a lot after I went to, when I was in Costa Rica in I'll probably mention Costa Rica a lot throughout this podcast because it was pretty significant in my life. So I went there in end of 2020, like December, and stayed through March or like early March of 2021. And while I was there, I went to a retreat that was called the Womb Wisdom Keepers Retreat. It was really beautiful. And before the retreat, I was like, what, the womb? But I had this great conversation and like explanation of its significance, what they're going to be focusing on, and how it's really special to connect with your womb if you carry it, especially if you carry a womb, and how she was saying that manifesting actually comes in connection with that space. It's also your womb is connecting you with all of your past ancestors and especially your female lineage. There's a lot of power because it has the ability to create, and it's this space that's like this dark void in our body. And then also it goes through a lunar cycle of shedding every month blood through our lining of our uterus and releasing that back to the earth, essentially. And so before that, I had just intuitively decided to stop taking birth control. And I had been taking it for a few years to help with like some hormonal imbalances that were happening. And it was definitely helpful for that. And then my period was more regular and it helped my acne out. But I just felt an intuitive thing. I forget why exactly, but I just felt it was time. No specific reason, just felt it was time. So I paused that before going to Costa Rica. And then while I was there, I connected more with my womb and started to connect more with my period as well. And seeing it also, the whole time I had my period, I think starting in 2020, I really started to like remember that it's more of a ceremony. And I also was shown that practice and honoring your menstrual cycle as a ceremony when I went to a sweat lodge with my mom, with a woman in Vermont here who is Abenaki Native American. And there I joined, but I was at the very tail end, but still was bleeding. And so I was gifted the experience of going to their moon lodge. So if you're having your moon flow, your period, then you go to a separate space because you're already in ceremony. And then they also like, it's in their tradition to like serve you, so someone else takes the plate, and like after the sweat lodge there's a meal, and so they like, you know, put food on the plate for you. And I just felt like this different level of treatment that I really, well, obviously who doesn't love that, but I really enjoyed it. And I was like, yeah, like, why is this makes so much sense. Like, first of all, some of us are really uncomfortable. That's like one thing. But then secondly, now especially, like, we are going through and more sensitive to a lot of the energy around us and what is existing within us. So yes, I firmly believe, and now am taking more steps in honoring my cycle as a ceremony and knowing that it's also a very sensitive time. Like, I feel like nauseous and overwhelmed if I get too much high energy around me when I'm in my period, having my cycle. And yeah, I could go into way more detail of the different things I've experienced while having my menstrual cycle and like the actual bleeding portion. But for now, I'm just sharing about how that has been a stepping stone to connecting more with the seasons. So slowly but surely, I also I forget when, but there was a point when I was like just done with using tampons. And I know this might be like a lot of information, especially if someone who's listening to this isn't familiar with this part of life. And if you're uncomfortable, totally valid. Even if you are familiar with this part of life, like I invite you to take a breath and to notice what might be coming up while I talk about this part of life. And, give yourself some comfort. Understand that talking about things like periods and vaginas and wombs and all these things, in some places it's almost like shameful, but it's really not. It's actually really important. And it's important for the entire planet for us to be coming back to more balance and peace and unity amongst each other and within ourselves. I firmly believe like the more we love and accept ourselves, the more we'll experience peace in the world. So if you're feeling a bit triggered, feel free to take a pause on this and then come back. Or what I would do, something I've done before, if I'm listening to something I know is a little bit uncomfortable for me, because it's like, I haven't really talked about that out loud, or it's just bringing up a lot of emotion, is to really focus on your breath. So bringing in the breath, slowly inhaling, feeling it fill up your body, and exhaling with a sigh. And noticing how the sigh brings your body down to a state of rest and a sinking down into the earth. And it is safe to be here, present with what it is that I'm sharing. Feeling the connection between the earth and the seat beneath your spine. All right, coming back to what it was I was sharing. Thank you for taking that moment to pause with me, because I realized that I was getting excited and talking fast, and some of these words or my energy as I'm sharing might be activating. And yeah, it can be scary to bring focus on something that has been like repeatedly attempted to be shut down in like very violent ways and emotionally harmful ways, such as things like the woman's womb space and our natural cycle and our connections that we have because we have this part of our body, and that we matter, and that operating from a way that's not honoring that cycle it's in the past now. And the structure that's set up to like prioritize consumption and production at like fast rates, it's not helpful at all. And every step you take in your own journey is helping like the entire world reconstruct how we operate together in a way that's harmonious and unified and good for everyone. And I think it's just so beautiful that this this deep conversation came from talking about something so simple as seasons. And for me, I love that the earth continues to be like this really powerful reminder of like how to exist. And that's why I've been leaning more into seasons. It's really helped me to connect more with the earth and my own natural rhythms and like my energy cycles. So coming back to the talk about my like connection with the womb, I stopped using tampons and it just felt like uncomfortable, and I felt like I needed to let my blood flow like just naturally. So then I feel like this past year I've more and more been like, okay, during that time I'm not as available, so I like purposely don't schedule like things to do with friends during that time of the month when I'm bleeding. And also it is something that I have to like navigate with, you know, if I'm working in a position where I'm expected to be there. And luckily the last few times I've been in a job, like most of the time it aligned for me to have time off on the days I especially needed it. And then now present day, something that I did recently that I don't know why it took me so long to do was I scheduled my life around my menstrual flow. So now I have like blocked off time, like maybe 1 to 2 things on my task list for the time that I'm in my period flow, and just awareness that the days leading up I'll be getting more tired, maybe more irritable, and maybe needing more comfort and support. So that's one way that I've started to engage with the seasons more. And then from that, this year is the first time that I've actually like slowed down enough to, even though it's uncomfortable because you just like kind of want like fidget and like get out and like not slow down, to embrace the winter. And I'm in Vermont, so like that used to be something that I would try to avoid because it's colder here, you get less sunshine, there's not as much mobile activity, and I thrive in the sun. It really helps my well-being. But this is where I'm at right now. So there wasn't many options, and I felt like also ready to surrender to the winter. And what helped was a 2-week time away in Mexico. So I will admit I did leave for a chunk of time. But then when I came back, I especially was like so enjoying the quietness, because what winter offers is like, it's just quieter in general. There's less people outside. You don't hear the wind going through the leaves like you do in the summer, which I'm so excited to hear again. The trees are quiet. Like I full on have conversations with trees, and they're not as available to talk with in the winter because they're all like their energy is all in their roots, and like they're hibernating. And it's a time of hibernation for a lot of animals, and it's just a time for us too to really go inward. And I'm excited that this is the first year I've really gone inward and moved slow, and now I'm like preparing for spring along with like the actual season of spring. My spring of like my passions and what it is that I'm creating for my life and manifesting this year. So yeah, I'm excited about the seasons. And I shared a really fun post about spring and winter in my blog that I'll just share quickly here, and you can read the whole thing if you'd like. It's on erikajulia.com. ErikaJulia.com, and it's called Lady in Gold. What is it called? Lady in Gold, something the treasure within, like know the treasure within or something like that. And it's basically this idea that while we're in winter, that just because there's no flowers on our trees, like our metaphorical trees, doesn't mean that that treasure doesn't exist. And being patient for the process is something that is a great learning opportunity that I've been working through, and is great for all of us. And it's especially interesting when our society tends to like push, production to be constant and every day, and meeting numbers and goals that are great, but also I think the more we really flow with the seasons, the more healthy we'll be and the more natural our creation will happen. And it's like we're fine, like we don't need, our survival is taken care of, so everything else is like extra. So moving from seasons into how that plays into my habits, and how that all has helped me overall in my well-being is recently I finally picked up the book because I got an intuitive nudge by like multiple people, through multiple people, to read this book that I highly recommend, especially if you feel drawn to it. Do what you can to pick it up. The first few pages, I already was like, felt a change in myself. And it's the Atomic Habits book. I've seen it on the shelves. There's so many books like around different self-help things. And so I, didn't really pick it up right away. But I really think it's so life-changing because even just bringing awareness to the fact, the first thing that they talk about is the 1%, something along those lines, where like just 1% of adjustment or like fine-tuning or enhancement of something in your life adds up over time. And they had this amazing example of this team in France, I believe. I might have the details wrong, but where they were like one of the lowest, or like the last team basically in this bike competition. Totally butchering the exact details, but basically they became the best team through a new coach who practiced doing this. So it would be really simple things like checking in with their beds, even like how were they sleeping. And so that really helped me to realize and also like remember that my success is inevitable, but it's also not necessarily like gonna happen in this very moment. And it helped me to remember to have patience and simply continue forward every day, and it will at some point add up enough to like be the tipping point for like a full bloom, a super bloom, hopefully. So yeah, that my efforts the past like 3 to 4 years of working on developing a business and blah, 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 blah. There's like a lot of things, but I've been putting in very intentional efforts towards some goals and manifestations the last like 4 years, and it will blossom and it will come to fruition. And that helped me to have hope and to continue doing daily things that I knew I could do. The book also really helped me to integrate habits that I have for years wanted to be doing and never really fully did, or like started it but like paused it pretty soon after. And I'm just so proud of myself, and it feels so good because depending on who you are, like this might be a little bit more natural for you to integrate some habits. And like especially for me, who is a little more like, I don't like to feel like I'm in structure because it can feel easily limiting, I've shifted my perspective to notice how structure is actually freeing, because within the structure, I'm able to let my feminine flow. And so there has been this beautiful new structure in my life, integrating some new habits. And also these habits have been things that I already know do help me maintain balance in my life every day. And that is having a morning routine and an evening routine. And you can also call them a ritual, any sort of practice that is to be with yourself in the morning especially, it's important. And in the evening to unwind in a way that helps support your sleep. And also my routines and rituals in the morning and evening now integrate manifestation practices, so visualizing, coming into the sensation, bringing in gratitude. And I'm excited because I had been working through manifestation, learning about manifestation and knowing that this is part of it for the last 4 years, but it didn't ever really become a daily habit until this year and this season of winter, when I finally slowed down enough to really listen to myself and almost start over. So the habits thing has been really supportive because it gives me a sense of accomplishment right away. A couple things that I've integrated just to celebrate, because I'm really excited about it, is that I did a full month. I don't even know if I've already been doing a full month, but I've been doing daily yoga now. I started it in end of December. I took a couple weeks off in January, but then I continued forward. And basically since end of January, I haven't even been keeping track because it hasn't been something I've been concerned about missing out on. I just know I'm going to do it now. And it's been such a great way to start the day. Even just 10 minutes has been amazing. When I first wake up, that's what I do after drinking water. The other thing is that I've been integrating is getting up right away. So I used to love the experience. It was just so pleasurable to lay in bed for a long time, after I woke up, being cozy, and getting my body to move used to be challenging. And recently I've noticed I started to pick that habit back up a little bit, but I'm coming back to reminding myself of the importance of getting up when I have my alarm. And I have a regular wake up time. And so then after that, I do a fitness, something from my fitness plan. So I have each day is a different focus. And it's really simple, and it's easy to do. It's short. It's not too tiring. It's just challenging enough, but also not so bad that it's attainable. So I set these specific habits to integrate that I knew I could do and sustainably do over every single day. And yeah, I've noticed a change in my body. I've always wanted to have fitness habits and go to the gym for years, but only now is it actually happening in a very regular way. So I'm really proud of that, because I think building in strength training or any sort of fitness activity is so empowering to your body and your mindset and your self-esteem. I've experienced what it's when I get back into it, and it feels so good. It's so helpful to also look in the mirror and be seeing the changes and be really excited. And something now that I'm practicing is, while I'm doing these habits, being really present with myself. And this is something that I'm working on now, because I notice my thoughts go places that are kind of just places of drama, or thinking about maybe arguments or things that I'm upset about. But then I come back to being present with myself and almost enjoying my own company, the way I would want my significant other to be present with me. So then it reminds me that it's important I give that to myself, and I feel that connection with myself, and it's like I'm like giving myself attention that I wanted, that I can have with myself. So those have been some things that I've been working through and integrating into my daily life, and has really helped me to connect more with feeling regularly, blissful, more balanced, and just like overall my health feels a lot better. And especially I'm excited because like the daily practices of visualization and journaling about gratitude and embodying the like what it is I'm manifesting in this moment is very exciting, because it's like very exciting what's coming through. And so those are some topics, the seasons and habits, that I wanted to share about today. And I recommend the book, The Atomic Habits, and to see how it works for you. Everything, I would say, any advice you're given, always like listen to the pieces that resonate the most, and that's what's for you. It might not be like, okay, now I have to go get the Atomic Habits book and read it. Maybe later on in life it's the right time. But maybe something else clicked for you in this, and whatever it might have been, I hope it really helps you in your journey and what it is that you're in the midst of. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening through till the end. And thank you again for pausing in the middle with me and coming back to your breath. It's always an amazing tool you can use anytime that you start to feel overwhelmed or notice your body feeling activated, especially through these podcasts I'm sharing. The breath is your connection to life and can really help you to relax and connect with the earth again. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that was a lovely episode for you and you gained some sort of wisdom or aha moment or activation for your own journey and life. And if you'd like to connect further, you can go to my website, erikajulia.com. It's ErikaJulia. And there you'll find also a blog where I share a lot of writings on similar topics. And also, if you feel really inspired by this episode, please leave a review and share it with a friend. And those two things would really help this podcast get to more people and more hearts and more ears, more minds, more bodies. So that would be really helpful. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here.